Interesting one. We haven't done a topic like this in a while. We've been giving y'all a lot of knowledge. We always do, but we gonna get in. We get in. We gonna go ahead and kick it up for the last one. I eat some food in a minute. We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna go ahead, listen to this young lady, and see what she has to say. It's gonna be a good one. Let's see what this young lady has to say. This was sent to me a couple of days ago. I've been getting a little emotional on TikTok, even though they're about to ban it. So somebody sent this to me. As soon as they started the ban, I'm starting to get a little flow on TikTok, man. I don't get it, man. But we're gonna see what this young lady got to say, man.
Too
I'm
much
liking the
on
Always a
girl.
black woman.
Damn, shout out to the natural hair, man. Let's go ahead and run with it, man.
Hmm.
So the
me.
ruling is in. Here's the 3 top reasons why black women have the lowest marital rates. We are uncooperative, we do not listen, and we have the nastiest attitudes. And unfortunately, y'all, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly, 100%. But let me say this. It does not make me happy. Seeing those comments did not make me happy at all. But it's the reality of where we as black women are. That we have created this narrative based on our actions, our behaviors to be these just unruly women when that is not our history. So many women try to sit on this app and in conversations and try to paint this picture that black women have always been loud and ghetto and ratchet and overly provocative and over sexualized. Like, that is not our history. And I wish we stopped with that. Like, we have to stop taking away credit for the women who were feminine, women who were very elegant, had class, had dignity, were not loud, were not super aggressive, were able to stand their ground, but also be very feminine at the same time.
There you go.
So I know y'all didn't like the polls. I know y'all didn't agree to hearing men primarily and women point out why black women have the lowest marital rates. It always goes back to us. I know we don't control who proposes, who pops a question, but you have control over if it happens based on your actions. Don't forget it.
She broke it down on both sides really well. Very elegant how she put it down. How she explained everything. I saw it as it was sent to me by a follower. I forgot the name. I appreciate you. I think the only reason I had this sent to me was weird because I started talking a little bit on my workouts and my live, and I didn't even talk about marriage and like that. All I said was men need to be men, and we need to build more families and stuff like that. And they tagged me in that, and I saw it. I was like, all right, okay. So I thought it'd be something good if we could talk on FMF. Cosmos Workout Complex. We go live all the time. I'll be talking about spiritual stuff and Bible verses, and we work out. So go ahead and
Man, I can teach you something about the Bible, bro. He got a scripture.
yeah, man. Every workout, we always got a scripture. We want to keep on doing our thing, man. All praise to the Most High. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this next one, man. What do y'all think about the young lady and the topic? I kind of squared off the topic off of why do y'all think that black women have the lowest marital rate? Why do y'all think that?
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead, Trey. You start off. I'm thinking. I'm cooking over here.
And I gave in defense. I went old school. We started to kind of do the topics, and we were telling this one was a curveball, so everybody's kind of going off what's it called top of the dome.
Yeah.
Pause.
Ain't no pause on that.
I mean, hey man, hey.
First thing I'm gonna say is shout out to my black women. I love y'all. I love black women. Black women, y'all have so much more power than you actually realize. We love you as black men, but y'all do got some work to do in certain areas, especially with the 3 that were listed. You don't cooperate, you don't listen, and it's the attitude. But me being the mindset guy and learning more about how people think, I always like to go to the root. What's the source, right? What's the source of this mentality? Why is it that you don't cooperate? You
Propaganda.
know, it's the propaganda of independence, man. the propaganda of independence and what, the spark, because I know that, this was a while ago, but the spark of separating the household, the black household, and getting you to start viewing black men as less than. So now black men have to come with so much more. And I've said this to so many people, so many of my people, is you cannot expect any person, man or woman, to come complete. If you're looking for a complete person, a whole person, someone who is finite, then you're searching for something that does not exist, because one, nobody is perfect, and two, we all have things that we have to grow, we have to learn, we are all developing, we are always improving internally, externally, what have you. So that's some of the things that I would just want to throw out there. Black women, if you are looking for a man, don't expect this man to come fully complete. Like, you may have it together in some areas, but he's working on the other areas. That's a good man. If he doing the basics and trying to pay attention, he's putting forth effort. That's a good man. You know what I'm saying? Like, pay attention to him. It's not that you're building a man, but you have to be willing to build with. And that goes into the realm of cooperation. And it's one of the things that this young lady said that you all don't do is cooperate. Um, and I got more, but I'll go ahead and let you guys speak. I'll come back around.
Um. So, all right. So I've been taking some notes.
Yeah,
And gathering my thoughts. Just to answer the question straight up, why black women have lower marital rates, it's, we spoke on propaganda. We talked about it over and over on these episodes, on this podcast. We mentioned things like the microwave society, how, like you just said, Trey, everybody wants everything finite and complete when it comes to them. Nobody wants to do the work anymore. I'm not gonna say men are perfect. We have a lot to do, so I'm gonna get that out the way before
absolutely.
before I start talking about
Women.
talking about our women. But
Hmm.
I think it starts with the youth. Um, it kind of starts with us. It kind of starts with us. It kind of starts with the absence of the black father. Um, we've gone over that several times, but then at some point, I would like to think that women waste their youth, um, in their more fertile, more uh, in their younger years. They nowadays it's like they're more worried about having a good time than really. Uh, I don't think a lot of them are looking for husbands per se.
That's
Mind
what
you,
I was gonna say.
a lot of us aren't husband
Looking for
material.
wives.
Aren't looking for wives either, because we learned about, when we're younger, we learned about those viscous innards, and we just
Hmm.
fixated on that. We're not fixated on building with nobody. We just fixated on those viscous innards, as
I
my
like
boy
that.
mediocre tutorials and reviews. That's his word. So shout out to him. But at the same time, right? Like communication. Uh,
Communication. Come
like
on.
we can say we both do this and that, but it comes down to communication, right? Uh, women nowadays are a little more masculine. Our women are a little more masculine for whatever reason. For all the reasons we just named. But that's not an excuse to continue to act that way. You can only control two things in life. You can control your actions and you can control your emotions. I know women are a lot more emotional than we are, outwardly. I know Trey would fight back on that, but outwardly a little more emotional than we are. Um, but you got to understand, like like you just said, Trey. There's power in your femininity. Like,
Absolutely.
as feminized as the world is becoming, it's more so like the world turning itself upside down, because men are being feminized and women are being masculinized. I think
Mm,
on the it's like a double edged sword. It's so intertwined and unique how it's trying to be done, but it's working. Um, but when it comes to us ladies, like communication. And you go through it, Trey. I'm sure you and you too, because we're all in relationships. I'm sure you're more susceptible to listen to what your woman has to say when she comes at you in a respectful and and just talking to you, not just coming at you with the rah rah and the yada yada and the yakety yak in your ear, because that puts you in a fight mode when she meets you with that more masculine type of energy. But I don't know, man. I try to talk to our sisters, like the younger sisters that I work with, when we
Hmm.
talk about their relationships and
There
whatnot,
we
and
go.
I be like, yo, why are you like this? And their if their first answer is cuz, I'm like, all right, you got it, cuz.
Silly.
And I try to I like having these conversations because it's interesting how they think, and it's like, all right, I know he might be lacking in this department, but you know, where can y'all come to a compromise? Like y'all both gonna compromise in a relationship, but it is they really don't listen. I don't know why that is. Like I said, could be because they didn't have that black father to listen to when they were younger girls when they needed to talk to a man. But it seems like they really don't listen, and that's part of the communication process where it's broke. The chain is broken. You
I
don't
would
listen.
say
You can't communicate by just talking all the time
right.
and expect it. Go ahead.
I would say that not to mean to cut you off. I
No,
would
you
say
good.
that it is more popularized for the man is always the one who has to work on listening, and we do. Oftentimes we have to be repeated to in order for it to sink in. I just told y'all I'm going on this cruise. I was like, "Where you going?" I don't know. She done told me some shit at times. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I haven't retained it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, we could work on listening, but when it comes to that angle, uh, it's more popularized that the man needs to listen. So the woman gets to get her rocks off. And you also said women are more masculine these days. They are, but the women, this personal experience, the women that I know to be more masculine feel like they have to be. It's like they don't have the masculine present, right? And if a
Yeah,
woman doesn't acknowledge, if feminine doesn't acknowledge masculine, then the feminine is going to grow and develop into the masculine for whatever the situation arises. And it becomes confusing for them which energy to rely on because both are for protection, not giving them a scapegoat, but just trying to bring some understanding to it. So most of the time, and it's interesting because I do this too. I'm a social scientist myself. I talk to them, and this is part of the purpose for me of communication. And in this climate right now, when I show a woman, especially a black woman, what a good man is by not responding to certain things or how I would respond, or what you know my forms of communication and stuff like that, it usually turns into I need you, and it's like, no, you don't
yeah,
need me.
yeah. It's a
You
dangerous
need
spot to be in. It's a
right.
dangerous spot to be in.
It's titillating. And I'm like, yo, you don't need me. That ain't the goal. That ain't what I'm showing you. And I'm not being intimate, but this energy, this guidance, this masculinity that you're missing, this is what you need. And be open to it. Be more susceptible to it, because a lot of times when it comes in the way of, like I said, the main thing that we can portray is anger, or, if a guy gets loud, he seems to be
Aggression.
angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, aggressive. Yeah. Um, Aggressive, assertive, abrasive, all of those A words. um, so we can work on communication in those forms, but at the same time, nah, y'all got to be able to acknowledge what's really going on. And yeah, for me, women are more masculine these days. You're correct. But it's funny how the more masculine woman is usually more feminine to me. I think the guy just needs to be more on his square and his
You
masculine.
I agree with that 100% because it'd be the truly hard ones that when you meet them with that energy, and like you said, they take it as intimate because it's not they're not used to it. But it's like, hold on. Like I'm sure you got to do this a couple of times, man, throughout the
Man,
day.
and that don't
But
even work. I'm like, no, sorry.
yeah, that just worked. That just worked more poorly in your favor when you show them things,
Right.
bro. Like,
Like,
but
oh, he's not afraid of commitment.
yeah,
Oh.
that is very true, bro. And it's like it's a dangerous spot to be in because you wanna feel like you're helping them, but in their mind, their hamster wheel starting spinning. Like I need him, like
Mm-hmm.
like he has what I need, like what I've been
So
looking for.
it's
That's an
like,
interesting. We gotta talk about that on another
yeah,
topic.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm writing that down. And yeah. You want to continue? I had cut you off.
No,
I
you
got.
good. I got I like all of these things are kind of coincide. The three things you mentioned: uncooperative, don't listen, attitudes. It's all like blended to like attitude. Um, if you wanted to blend it into one word. Where
Yeah.
was I? Where was like I said, I can sit here and talk about women all day, but I think it starts with us. And you spoke about
Mhm.
them not having that masculine energy. And like I said, it starts with the father, not the absence of presence of the father in the home,
Or a
and then
masculine figure.
or a
Yeah.
masculine figure in general. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be their biological, but and then when they see what their mom has to do to fulfill that role, since it's lacking, they're gonna pick that up. They're gonna grow up and figure like that's how I have to be because that's what I've seen. That's what I know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a perpetual cycle. But to your point, yeah, we do have to be on our square. We have to, and it takes time. It takes time for us to get there. Because
Yeah.
when like I said, I told y'all before, when I was young, one woman wilding out, I'm wilding out too. We both can be crazy. Like you're not crazy to me, so you're not crazy to me. Let me read Taj's comment. A wise person once said, "Some women don't want a man like your man.
They want your man.
They don't want a man like your man. They want your man." Okay, okay. I'd like to meet this wise person. This wise person. Um,
He probably on the screen. My dog.
uh, G, welcome back. I'm kind of losing fire and steam here.
No, I got it, man.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
What
Uh,
you?
my
Yeah.
bad, man. I heard every single thing. My camera went out. That's why I looked like I was black. But I heard everything on
You
my
black?
camera. So I
Big
apologize.
black.
I see it did it to you earlier, Keith. I don't know why it did it to me too. I had to jump out and jump back in. I don't know why. But
Yeah.
I heard every single thing y'all said. Uh, I digested
Black
everything. I heard. I'm sorry.
black women have the lowest marital rate
Oh yeah. First I want to
because
say I agree. I agree with what the young lady said. And everything that y'all said about the one part, I agree. But I've said this before. Maybe I can articulate it a little bit better this time. I've been working on it for years. So as y'all see, I'm getting better at it. So where I'm trying to come to a point where I want to be able to show that I can be able to articulate my point without saying something about y'all personally, but actually coming against y'all argument and not you.
Hmm.
So that's how I want to be able to articulate myself. So this is against y'all argument, but not y'all personally.
Mhm.
Okay.
So my thing is, and I hope y'all receive it the same way. So when I think personally is the same way when we say that I think it's programmed for us, and I don't know if it's the propaganda thing you say, or maybe it was passed down in generation or whatever on how we talk. I think is a real problem on the reason why we don't see a lot of change, and it's specifically either man or woman, or especially on a woman, is where we can't have a conversation even when the topic is on women. We have to some way bring it to men. And I think that's a problem, and I think it's a negative because what it does is it decreases the problem and the point of what we're trying to correct.
Hmm.
So the way I see it is, if I tell somebody, remember 12, and then they be like, okay, and I say 58, 38, 48, 50, 50, 52, 52, 150, 64, 80, 44, and I'd be like, do you remember? Most of the people, they'd be like, no, what was the first number you said? So when you do that, if you say it's a problem somewhere and then you go, but this, and that, it gets into a person's mind. What I think, and from my learning and what I see, is that you forget about what you said about the topic and forget about what we're trying to fix, and you're trying to put it on something else. Even though you
Hmm.
might be right that maybe men need to do some of the things that y'all said. Y'all was right about certain things. Men need to do better too. I'm not saying it's less on women. I mean, just on women at all. But if we have a certain topic and we want to fix something, I think it'll be productive on our side to be like, if something's wrong with the women, then we need to stick on that and say they need to fix that instead of trying to be like, no, I mean, y'all doing that, but maybe we can do something. And I don't know if it's something that people do it on purpose or they don't know that they're doing it sometimes. But I personally think from my side, when people do that, I think that is my, I don't know if other people feel this way, but I think that it relieves that pressure on why they need to change their ways. And then we work on ours and we don't have to always put it all together.
I get what you're saying, bro. Because
I
it's kind of
understand your
like
thinking.
Yeah,
because it's kind of like
that's the easiest articulate I can do without attacking. This is what I see. Now, if I'm wrong, what do y'all think?
nah. I get what you're saying because it's.
It seems like it's
I
alleviating them from from the issue.
Yeah,
Uh, I understand
because
your
because like
thinking.
like you mentioned, Trey, there's a reason why they're like that, but we just talk about why they're like that. It's not getting to, all right, well, how do we change that? You know what I'm saying? I think that's what you're ultimately getting to, correct, G? Is he frozen?
Say again.
Curtis Mayfield. I said we can sit here and talk about why they have gotten like that, but at some point we gotta just stick on, like, all right, what needs to change and how do we go about doing that instead of keep talking about
Yeah,
why.
I mean, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Yeah, because I think, let's say, I agree with y'all that men need to, we talk, there's a men's improvement. I already know that, bro. We got things that we need to change. But I think that if one person be like, all right, don't worry about what they're doing. You need to fix this. Don't worry about what they're doing. You fix this about you. Men, don't worry about what she's doing to you. You fix that, and we're gonna stay on you, and gonna fix you. You're gonna fix you instead of always bringing it together. I think sometimes that's more productive. I think sometimes that's like one more analogy. You can go ahead. Like if you go to the oil place and you be like, bro, oil change. All right. Today, I mean, do you want to get your tires done too? And we can go ahead and fix your muffler. And bro, I just came here for the tire change. No, bro, I mean, you could do this too, and this will fit too. And like, bro, I came here for the tire change. If that happened, you'd be like, bro, I told this dude I came for the oil change. It's like you changing the subject, but we just went for one thing. That's how I see it sometimes. So I think we just need to sometimes be like, yo, woman, you need to fix this, bro. Don't worry about what we doing. We fixing us. We need to
I,
fix this about you. Don't worry about us. Fix this about you. It don't
I
matter what we
get
doing.
I get what you're saying. I
I get
probably,
it too.
to be
I,
honest, I probably, real quick, Trey, to be honest, I probably brought up the man part just to talk longer because I ain't have a lot of steam on this one.
I I understand what you're saying as well, but I don't see where, like, all right, so with your analogy of you bringing your car in for the oil change, like, all right, that's
Mhm.
fixing that one specific problem. But if you want the whole car to be good, then we got to talk about multiple areas. And I understand where it's like, yo, like we trying to hold them accountable for this area. Like, yeah, but in totality for like it like even when because I see the backlash too, where it's like you got super feminine women who just get dogged, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, like you could say it's the men that they choose and stuff, but it's still, something like that. And it's like, okay, now we're getting off the topic. It's like, no, we talking about women, bro. It's women. And it's like, yeah, like in totality, like we're not linear we're not linear thinkers. Like all of us, like nobody is a linear thinker. We don't think chronologically. We don't think in order. We think in totality. That's why our thoughts be like, yo, like if you don't write out your thoughts, if you don't write out like what I got to do today, you be like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and then it's like, okay, well I could do this. Now you know what, I'm gonna do this then, and then I'm gonna just go to do. And it's like, yo, like it'll be all like we're not linear thinkers. So like I would love to be able to just stay right there. I think that's more of situational because that's how my communication is when it comes to the super masculine woman or a woman who any person that's just in the wrong at that moment, then I'm gonna hold them accountable. Like, no, you was wrong. You was wrong. But he did, but she no. Matter of fact, I'll give you a quick description. There was a domestic dispute while I was working. They pulled up on me, right? It was a guy and a girl. The guy was driving, girl in the back seat, right? They pulled up on me and both of them arguing, pulling out their phone, recording each other because it's turning into legal, possible legal action could be made. So they got their phones out recording and all that stuff, right? And it's like, okay, what are y'all doing? Right? And it's like, well, he texts me at this certain time and he said something about the baby and she, nah, bro, she got a kid, around my kid. And it's like, okay. What's the problem? I think that's how, like I got that same type of thinking when it's situational, like what's in front of me. Like if we're gonna talk about a generational solvent, then we got to talk about multiple areas. But as far as like, I want to stick to one thing, that one thing usually is situational for me, if I could explain that.
I understand that, but yeah, I mean, you make sense. It was, but that's the same kind of example I was gonna say too. Like when I've heard many of instances, usually well, women would be like, "Say you need to stop doing this," and they'll be like, "But he did this." So that comes in around where she's able to do that because we're saying that it's okay for them to do that. Meaning that if they know they got to change, but if they heard you say, "Yeah, you need to change," but he does that. So women are not dumb. So I think I see in their mind they're gonna keep on doing what they want to do, and they just be like, "Well, because he did it, why can't you just stop doing it because you are a woman and you queen and you this and that? You supposed to just stop on your own. Why can't you stop on your own? I think you're smart enough. I think you're beautiful, all that stuff. I think you're very intelligent. You have common sense. Why can't you just stop on your own instead of relying on all the time on what he's doing?" I understand that we the leaders, and I
Mm-hmm.
understand that, but there's a fine line where if we want them to come together with us, there's a fine line where some of the stuff you able just to know because you just know, or you be able to just do what you're supposed to do. And going back to like the video, and she said it on there. There was a time where women knew that they didn't go off of what men did would determine what they did. That wasn't always like that. I don't believe it, and I'm older, but I'm not that older, so I can't have film on it and all the statistics on it. But this is what I
Mm-hmm.
see from grandparents and seeing. Just my eyes are open, just seeing it, so I don't have proof. But I don't
Cool.
see the women actually just acting the same way. And then they were saying because he did it, they just were good women because they were just good women. I don't see them doing the same thing or reacting because what he did. He did what he was supposed to do. She did what she do. It wasn't because they did it or back and forth. That's what I think. And she was right about it. Women weren't like that back then.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're right
I
though.
just, that's how I see it. And
You're
Now,
now
right.
it's just whatever.
You're right though.
so
Our grams generation is different because you probably seen it in your household. You over your grands and grandpa, being an asshole, popping off, and she like,
Hmm.
whatever, nigga, under her
It
breath.
won't even
Like,
that. She won't even say whatever nigga. She was just, and
I,
she was
I,
for some
I'm
reason.
not saying she said that, but
Yeah,
in
yeah,
her
I know what you
mind, she
mean.
just
yeah,
I know
tended
what
to
you
her
so
mean.
business.
it's like
Yeah,
a
My
pick the
grandma didn't even
battles type of
curse.
thing.
My grandpa cursed up a storm, and
yeah,
she would
yeah,
still would just be a lady. She wouldn't
yeah,
change at all, no matter how he would act.
yeah. She
She
just in
knew
the
that
kitchen
she
washing
had
dishes.
her what she's supposed to do as a lady. So
Yeah,
No,
now it's like you forgot what you're supposed to be as a woman.
exactly,
That's what I'm like. I don't see
exactly.
it that way.
That's exactly it, though. That's
Mhm.
exactly it. Now, we throwing around this word a lot about propaganda, and the point of propaganda is to create the spark, to create the narrative, and whoever takes on that narrative will continue the mission, right? This is going back into what I cut my spill off in the beginning because I wanted to get you all to speak before I go all the way in. No, did he? Learn
Yeah.
yourself, right? Learn yourself. uh, learn yourself. A lot of women, a lot of our women, we talk about black women, right? Let's be specific. A lot of our women don't know themselves. A lot of us, we don't know ourselves. We don't know our culture truly, right? We don't know our history past slavery. We don't know a lot of these things. We don't know our rituals. We don't know how much we created. We don't know how, or that we were the first civilization. We was the first civilized people. We don't know that the black woman carries so much power, that she has that Eve gene, that every trait, every characteristic, every external characteristic that you see stems from a black woman, like the Asiatic slanted eyes. We can have that. All of that is natural. You know what I'm saying? No other race, no other woman possesses that Eve gene. That, if you make it biblical, Adam and Eve were black. Jesus was black. Like Moses was black. Like people don't know these things. Our people don't actually know these things, right? So that's what I was going to go into is you when you have more grounding in self, meaning you know more of your history, you know more of who you are truly, right? We throw, like I said, a lot of our stuff becomes trendy. It sounds good to say, man, we came from royalty, we came from kings and queens, and as you would point out, G, not everybody was kings and queens. You know what I'm saying? But that's where everybody is gravitating to. It's like we came from royalty, we came from kings and queens, we came from sophisticated civilization and math that still is not known. They still don't know. It's still a mystery of how we did what we did before any of this technology was created. You know what I'm saying? Before any of these tools was created, before all of that, man, like it's still a mystery. We have so much to learn about ourselves. And I think that is one of the main pivotal uh circumstances as to why black women have the lowest marital rate if they do so. Having checked this, I honestly don't pay attention to things like this. If y'all ever
That's
looked
hard
at it,
facts.
it says stats are not facts. But I would say they need to learn more about themselves, because when you learn more about yourself, you'll be more grounded in self. And when you're grounded, what they say, what's the phrase? You stand for nothing, you fall for anything. So they're searching, right? And they fall for a lot of the bullshit, as we mentioned on the last episode. They fall for a lot of the bullshit. So learn more about yourself, learn more about your history, and like your actual history past slavery, and you'll start to understand a lot of your strength. Talk to your elders to get more of an understanding of your families. Most of our families, if not all of our families, if you go two, usually two, most of us can't go past two generations. You don't really know great grandma, great granddad. Um, but if you go to those generations and beyond those, you'll see that the families was larger. Most of them have 5, 10. My family had 13 kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, like one house, like damn, like for real, like, and y'all know, like I be talking to my great aunts, my great uncles to this day, like yo, y'all know so much. Like I just be wanting to soak up the game. I just want to know and learn more, and not to drag this on, but the
Mm.
simple, the
I'm not,
simple, yeah.
I still don't understand it. I try to every time I hear it, like when you say it, I'm try to come from a good place and really trying to understand, because I promise you I'm not. When I hear it, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm really trying to. It's like it's like an oxymoron. It's like
Mm.
black people put themselves in a mindset when they're just so weak. If we're just so powerful, we can't. We're so powerful. We're this and that. We can't be together, or is just slave was just there and it's never going to go away. It's
Mm-mm.
like we think that we're the only people on earth that's gone through anything. Every culture has been enslaved. We were married at one point, not even that long ago, two generations before, at the highest out of everyone, Asians, blacks, whites, everybody. We were already there, and
Mm.
I think that after a while it's disrespectful because it's like that we can't get over anything. After a while, it's staying in a victim spot where everybody's going through something, man. After a while, it's like stop being a punk. I think it has to get to a point where it's like we already know what to do. We can't keep doing it. I can't be at 40 saying we're still from the Kings and Queens. Can't be at 80 and you still saying, but we're still from Kings and Queens. We can get together. Bro, it's over. And I think other coaches are tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing it. I think other people. I really think people sit around and be like, "How long are they gonna keep crying? What else do we need to do? We got affirmative action. You got this. You got money. You got this, and you still asking for. Well, what else do you need to actually do right? That's where I point where I'm at. It doesn't make sense to me that we got to keep on saying we don't know where we come from. We know that you had to go to the office to get married. You were married. Everybody knows what to do. You just don't want to do it. I promise you, it just doesn't make sense to me after a while. You tell me all the time, just do it, go live, go do it. I do it. But look at this, just do it. It's not after a while, you gotta look yourself in the mirror. We are strong. We keep saying we're strong people. We could do
We are.
anything. Then just do it. It's an oxymoron. If you say that they're that smart, they'd be like, okay, you're smart. Then do it. We can't because you did this. But you say you're smart. But we can't because you did this. Then which one are you? Are you smart or not? So
Oh,
otherwise, that's how I see it.
Like,
I mean, I
are
understand
you
we've been through stuff. Everybody go through stuff. I'm not dismantling slavery, bro. I'm not. I promise you. But after a while, it's like, bruh,
come on now.
gosh,
are
Come
Kings,
on
are
now.
you
Jesus.
Come on now.
honest question? Are you saying that to say that marriage is the is the solution to all our problems? That's
You
do
said that's
you
what's right.
Do
I
you think
don't want to. I
marriage is
don't want
the
to
solution
nitpick it.
to
I don't want to nitpick it.
everything that's like kind of well most I don't say everything but like we should say like the majority of the stuff that's going on?
like for saying everything that's for the
Right.
black woman to stop being uncooperative and having all these attitudes, and I guess on our side too, marriage is solution to everything.
From my research and me personally, I think so. Yes, and I'm
Hmm.
not. I think the reason why I think so, yes, is just as my and you can rebuttal me on my argument.
I
I
don't.
think
I was
looking
asking an
at
honest
it,
question because I just based on what you
yeah,
just said right there, that's what I
I
gathered. So I'm just
just
asking.
yeah, I just think so. And besides my Christian faith, you just put that aside and just looking at individuals. Most of them when they come from a two-parent home and they actually getting that masculine and feminine and actually seeing in a family, they
Mhm.
usually come out better as citizens. Usually, not all 100%. Of course, there are axe murderers in jail that came from two-parent homes. I know
Yeah,
that.
true that.
But as far as a collective, even if they're not Christian or anything like that, but when you look at it and you see that they came from that parent, they usually, of course, they graduate more, they go to college more, they have more families, they're more productive, they go to jail less. That's just showing the number. That's it. So it's not a Christian thing. That's what I see. I didn't say it's the most optimal, but it is the most optimal. I didn't say it's perfect, but I think yes, I think so. If you can show me some data or you don't think it is, then I could be proven wrong. But that's what I think. What do you think?
I was just asking an honest question because I was gathering that's what you meant from what everything you were saying in rebuttal to what Trey said. So I didn't have a rebuttal.
Yeah, but what I've seen and what I've read, and that when we were together, we were black families. We were looking good. We had afros. We was looking good. We had whole neighborhoods. My
Now that
grand,
makes sense.
my grandmother used to be in Northside, on Fendall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He said that whole neighborhood were black and they had families. My dad, when he was to school, they all had families. Everybody graduated. My dad went to the military. Their parents, everybody was married. They all did pretty well,
That-
and it was a
That's
better
how.
society. It was cleaner. It was that. But then as soon as my dad said, as soon as they seen that people are baby mamas, baby dads, and they weren't as families, things started to go down. And that's from hearing from my grandparents and seeing it and watching them. Because I asked one time, it was like, yep, all this whole block was all families. My dad be
My
like, yep,
I bro,
what's the name? I saw his dad all the time. I saw his dad's
bro,
mom, and it was better.
bro, I grew up on Montrose, a couple streets down, and it did used to be all black families, and now it's you can't find a black person around that bitch barely now.
Yeah.
And y'all, I want to get to the oxymoron
Mhm.
of, what was the oxymoron? Like, I mentioned learning of self past, past slavery,
Mhm.
and I want to elaborate more on that area. But what was the oxymoron? What didn't connect?
I think um I think after a while it's a BS excuse for not doing what you're supposed to do. After this day in 2024, I think it's just not an excuse, and that's just being honest. And I'm
Mhm.
not discrediting what happened to black people. I'm not. I just want to get that. I'm not. It happened 100%. I wish I had a camera back then so I could show you. It happened. I promise you. I'm not discrediting that, but we just have too much technology, and I believe that black people are smart. I think that we're no dumber than anybody. We're no dumber than anybody on earth. I think that. I actually do think highly, and I think that black people are smart, very smart people as a collective. But I think that they just use excuses because people keep telling them that. If you keep telling somebody over and over again, it's because of this. It's because of this you can't do. It's because of this. After a while, it's programmable. We're mental people. If you keep telling me over again that I can't do it, or it's because of this or this, you start to believe it. So I think that we just stop saying it, and eventually it will just go
I
away, and we just do better. That's how I see it. That's why I want to keep saying it over again. I don't want to talk about that. We should do better. Just do it. Just get married. Do what you're
Trey,
supposed to do, and do it.
I think that's where Trey is trying to come together. To your point,
Mm,
he's not talking about slavery. He said before slavery when we were together, like another time where we were together
mm,
as families, like if we understood where we were in our roots, just like we were, you know, after slavery when we were together in marriage. He was
Mhm.
saying if we understood that, we would do better.
Right.
But why do we always gotta go back and say that? What's the point of doing that?
Because that is where we have lost the way, G. That is where this whole decline started. When after slavery, right? I know that's a trigger word at this point. After slavery, why was there so much black love, black communities, black togetherness? That's because they fought to be able to do these things. We were more rooted in self. We had oral tradition. We knew to be with one another. You know what I'm saying? To use some of your words, is there was shame if you stepped outside of your race, right? Like, we had more, and by the way, learning more history. Yes, other cultures have been enslaved. Yes, other cultures have had horrific episodes, but no other culture in history has been eradicated to the point where we don't know our own tradition. They burnt our libraries and stuff so that we only by oral tradition, and we all know how rumor, we've done this experiment of rumor, like where you say one thing and one person ear, and it gets around the room. By the time it gets to by the time it gets to the last person, it's a completely different story. But that's the only thing that we've had to rely on. So we are not, at this day and age, we are not rooted in self. So that's why there's a lot of searching. That's why there's a lot of miscommunication. There's a lot of lost identity where specifically these black women are acting out in these ways and these manners because that's what they've gravitated to. Not saying it is right, and it's not to absolve the accountability, but learning your history, including slavery and past slavery, adheres to that. It's not an excuse. It does not absolve you of your accountability and what you do today. It does not stop you from being able. You are free enough to be able to think for yourself, do for yourself, put forth some type of effort and get some type of response, some type of result. It does not take away from you. But if you do not, if we stop talking about it completely, if we just get away from it all the way, history repeats when people stop learning or stop knowing about the history. You're not supposed to learn the history to stay in the past. But if you don't know the past, then you cannot guide and direct for the future. That's why it's such a
Um,
pivotal thing.
okay. Only thing, okay, absorbed it. Okay.
Trey basically saying how you
But
supposed to know where you're going if
I,
you don't know where you're coming from.
I understand when you say that, but I'm trying to remember. Okay, I'll go to this point first, and I'll go to that point because that usually doesn't make sense to me. But this at this point, why do you think, or maybe you have some literature, or wherever you may have some literature and I haven't read it. Where do you see that from this time to this time that they took like a Men in Black like erase mind thing to say y'all forgot about marriage? They actually they always they took the history. This is part of the history. They knew they got rid of stuff, and then they specifically said, "Don't be married." Is like a because I've heard that that's where they got jumped the broom from. They jumped the broom when they were slaves,
Mm.
um, and they were always married. Like Keith already was a second person witness to this that we got married not even that far long ago. So you're saying it was slavery? Of course, we had that. They took it away, marriage. They didn't get married while they were slave, but I think they did. And then they started to get married again. And then all of a sudden, they forgot it again. And then now we have to remember from back then that we used to get married. That's what is that what you're saying that they forgot from this time? Is like with each generation they forget like they memory went away like they supposed to get married. That's what I'm
The
trying.
memory doesn't go away, but it's a lot more shit in the world now. The world is a lot different now. It's a lot
What
of
does that have to do?
distraction.
I'm saying what does
It's
it
a
have to
lot of
do with
distraction.
marriage?
It's
What
a
does that have to do
lot
with
of
marriage?
distraction out here. Come on, but it's a lot of distraction out
You're
here.
not.
We a lot of us
I'm
aren't raised.
But
Go
you're
ahead.
not telling me what who is saying. I haven't heard nobody. I'm just saying. I haven't heard a white man said they came up to a black community and said stop getting married. I'm trying to figure out if you have the evidence then or older book. I know what's the guy y'all been on. If he has it and it shows me it says that I can believe, but I can't believe that somebody would say and all of a sudden we just magically forgot that we're supposed to be together and be married. That's the
Right.
part that I don't get. My grandparents were married. Everybody's
A few,
married. All of a sudden now, in 2024, we forgot.
a few points, bro.
That's what I'm trying to understand, bro. It's not making sense.
I got you.
Why
I
do we even
got
remember
you.
that?
I got you, bro. I got you. First and
Okay.
foremost, when we learn more about our history, our culture did not propose marriage. Like we just
That's the
knew to
European
be
shit.
right. That's one of the like you said, the European shit. That's one of the things that was, instilled in us from those type of tactics, and also religion. A lot of the things that we practice today is not part of our culture. So, not to jump around here, and we was asking, was marriage like a solvent to all of these problems? No, marriage is not the solvent. It's the marriage mentality, though. I will give it that, because of the three things that the lady said in this video about being able to cooperate, listen, and the attitude, working on the attitude when it comes to women. um it's more so the marriage mentality, you know what I'm saying? Like having a commitment, having a knowledge of self, of where it's like being planted, bro. Like you're planted, you're rooted and grounded, so you're unshakable, you're unpersuadable to just, and it's not just all of a sudden we forgot. It's a progression. Everything, all of the rebellion and resiliency is two different things. All of the rebellion, and then having babies younger and younger, and then the baby who had a baby is still in their rebellious phase, that rebellious teen who is instilling in this child that, what I'm saying, like, yo, these are the things I didn't like about what I was growing up. So you don't got to deal with it, you know. And now we're in a, you know, that continues for decades. And now we're at a point where it's like, yo, we got gentle parenting. We got, you know, you don't have to worry about it. You're never going to go through anything, or my kids never going to face any of the trials that I've had, where they can't appreciate anything that you've worked for. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that we should just throw them to the wolves, but most of us, we got that thick skin because we was out there with the wolves. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a progression. It's not an all of a sudden thing. And when the main form of our culture to be passed down is oral, and we get away from it, right? We got more and more people in the rebellious phase, who's raising the next person, who's showing them the main thing that's been passed down is I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And it's a misunderstanding of the resiliency, because that's the strength, where it's like, I'm not just going to tolerate anything. You can't pull the wool over my ass forever. But the I don't give a fuck mentality is what's been pushed down, not the meaning of, not just, like, you don't have your standing. You're not 10 toes. So that's why all of what we mentioned is of significance, if that makes sense.
I mean, that makes sense. So, with you saying that, so it's not slavery now. It's passed down from something else.
Is not just slave. Here we
He
go.
hasn't harped on slavery much at all.
No, it's not just slavery, bro. And I don't know what you say you read history books. What history books have you read? Because we say it all. Well, we have enough people now to where we can notice that they whitewashed a lot of history to make things look different than what it actually was. That's why it's like, yo, well, where do you get this text from? Like, it's gonna take some searching. It's gonna take some learning. And if that doesn't, if a lot of people in this day and age who don't see it as beneficial, it's a waste of time or whatever. But you're still lost or confused as to why things are the way they are. Things are the way they are because of the progression of how, like, it's not all of a sudden. If everything happens for a reason, then there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that we're here at this day and age, right? And the things that we was explaining on the last episode about, or was it this episode? No, was it this episode? It was this one. We've been talking for a minute. The things that we've explained about how, like, when you masculine, the masculine woman usually is more feminine. You know what I'm saying? When you don't shake, or like you match their energy and stuff like that, those types of things, it's like when you get grounded in yourself, other things around you don't have to change. And that's not just in, like, being all of the A's, the assertive, abrasive, aggressive, anger. That's not just being like that. It's like women being in their true nature of femininity. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of the women who are super feminine gets more in my presence. I see it. They get heard more, listened to, right? They get less attitude, they get more cooperation. The three things that this woman said that all needs to happen. Like, I even heard, I was listening. I know this might be crazy to y'all, but I was listening to a single mom's podcast because I really want to get into the mentality. Like, what y'all going? Depending on the
Oh,
areas.
we about to get cut off, man. It's a timer on it, man. About to get cut off.
Well, what's the time we got?
2 hours.
All right.
I think it's about to cut soon.
All right. All right, so I'll be quick. And the lady was like, she said, when she's a single mom,
Oh
and
yeah,
when she,
it cut. It ain't recording, but we can keep on going.
I bet,
It's not recording.
I bet, the lady said that when she tried to talk to her kids in a manner, she's a single woman. When she tried to talk to her kids in a manner of, like, deepening her voice and yelling at the kids, she don't get no response or they'll act up even more. But it was funny to her when she would, like, if she would whisper or say softly to the kid, like, listen, mommy just need her space right now, something like that. And they'll listen inherently. Like, that's learning more about yourself. That's being more in tune with yourself. These are things that are not taught, right? That spark of propaganda for independence, right? You don't need no man and all that stuff, that ignorant wave of feminism. That is one of the causes, you know what I'm saying, towards this whole attitude of the black woman. You know, they picked it up and ran with it because it felt good at the time, you know what I'm saying, not realizing that it's causing separation, right? Not realizing that it's ignorance, not realizing that, you know, this is detrimental to the community, you know, like holding that spotlight on y'all. Y'all need to work on that. Like, that's, we talk about cooperation here. We talk about community. We talk about families. We talk about coming together. It's not to absolve them, you know what I'm saying, if we say that you need to be more grounded in self, learn more about yourself. Can you actually draw out a family tree? You know what I'm saying? Is there any elder relatives that you could reach out to? Did you even have marriage in your upbringing? You know what I'm saying? If not marriage, togetherness. Like, was there a two-parent household? Did you see a healthy relationship? Anything, anything. And a lot of us can't say that we have. You know what I'm saying? Not to take it away, but this is a fact. This is a reality here. So it is a lot of learning, and these are actual things too. Like, I agreed with it. I agreed with the video, and I like the way that the lady presented it. I think it was quite elegant as well. Is, you do have to cooperate, you do have to listen, and you do have to watch the attitude. You know what I'm saying? But I also do think that that accountability is not going to come from anyone. For any guy to correct any woman, especially a black woman, is usually not going to get. It's not going to warrant the response that you want. They usually, any leadership, for any woman to follow any man's leadership, any person to follow anybody's leadership, then it has to be grounded in trust. That's the foundation of leadership, is trust. I have to trust that this woman has to trust this man's leadership. So if this woman has an attitude, and the man saying, "Hey, you have an attitude," she has to trust and his leadership at that moment to be like, "Hey, let me tighten up." Then, if she doesn't, she's going to rely on herself or whoever might be hyping her up and all of that. And that's the reality. That's how the mind works. This is where we are. So that's why it
Trey,
always circles.
I understand. I understand. I understand. You won. I understand. You got it, bro. Yeah, yeah,
We like, damn, then can we go to sleep?
yeah. Trey,
We still on TV. It might
all,
not be
res-
recording on the
all
back.
due respect, all respect.
yeah. All respect, man. All respect, man.